Thank you, Mr. Grinidis, and now we can proceed with Night of Battle.
I also thank the organizers of this event, the attendees and the presenters. It was so nice and brilliant and useful for all of us. The session dedicated to the involvement of citizens and local communities in protection, study and management of underwater cultural heritage showed in general that the communities, the society is curious and interested in underwater cultural heritage, and it's open to be involved and to support the projects and efforts of the specialists, archaeologists, researchers, conservators, managers. We saw several case studies from all over the world showing the efforts of representatives of the communities and of specialists to involve more representative of the citizens. And we saw some cases in the very beginning of their efforts run by individuals or by small groups. But in the same time, we saw already developed projects with significant results, impressive results, as those of the Nautical Archaeological Society and the case study from Australia. So what we see is that the people are open and would like to be involved and to put efforts, and this is a great potential that should be used. And I appreciate and express our respect to all those specialists who are trying to involve the society, to present the underwater cultural heritage to the public, and also of all those representatives of the local communities and the society, which are already, along with the specialists, in our efforts to preserve, to study, and to manage the water cultural heritage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Christos Agouridis.
Thank you all for your participation in this three-day conference. And concerning the section of training and education in maritime archaeology and scientific diving, I have to say that maritime archaeology, specifically, has become, over the years, a highly specialized work. Working on an underwater research project requires, of course, training, which will offer sound academic knowledge and a set of technical skills, including diving expertise. Efforts carried out through European research projects such as Science Diver and UBLUTEC towards the initiation of general standards are very encouraging and should be tested and incorporated into educational programs. In Greece, especially, HIMA's research projects over the last 35 years played a vital role in training young scientists from various academic disciplines involved in underwater archaeology. Academic training program offered by the University of Thessaly since 2021 is of high importance for educating future maritime archaeology professionals. And thank you very much again for your attendance.
And Mrs. Deborah Camilleri, yes, please, for your session.
Thank you. I'm at that stage where I can see and I can't see. So, hello, everybody. The session that I was moderating along with several of our other colleagues covered and highlighted the challenges that we face in terms of enhancing the access to underwater cultural heritage, looking for better practices, and looking at the technology that's being developed, and also to enhance that opportunity for sustainable blue tourism. And I think we had some really great examples which highlighted all of these themes. For instance, I'll start with the archaeological park in Malta, since I'm from the Superintendence of Cultural Heritage in Malta. This has been a big initiative, and I think that's a project that has really put Malta on the map in terms of work that's being done in trying to make sites that are at such depths accessible, whether it's to technical divers, but also to those who cannot dive. The work, for instance, that was in Martinique as well, where we looked at the Bay of Saint-Pierre and the several wrecks that are in that bay and how they're actually trying to preserve those and then allow those to be potentially accessible in the future. The sunken city of ancient Epidaurus as well, the work that was being done there, which I was quite impressed with in terms of trying to make that accessible to those with other needs and then potentially looking at other opportunities. And the work in Croatia and also in Italy, of course, these are ongoing and some interesting methodology that I think we can all learn from. We unfortunately didn't hear very much in this conference from Lebanon or Jordan or Egypt. Those individuals were not able to make it, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to hear from them. I think that one of the common themes of that session was that regardless of what part of the world we're from, we're all trying to meet a certain objective. We're all trying to work to the same aim within the constraints of the legislation that exists in all our nations. And being from the superintendents, I recognize this, even from a small island like Malta, how important it was, for instance, for us to ratify the UNESCO 2001 convention, because it did have an impact in bringing forward underwater cultural heritage. Even though people were working in the field, I don't think there was that same level of awareness. So this was really important for us, and again, I mean, we know that there are 78 other nations who have ratified it, and others should follow suit. I think it really, it really does help to put things forward. It helps us with that framework and to drive policy. So these are things that I think were alluded to in some of the presentations. I think that what I noticed too in a lot of the sessions in what I was moderating, but also in other sessions, was the importance of funding, the importance of government funding, EU funding, and the involvement of interdisciplinary areas to make things work, because we can't just have archaeologists working in a silo. We really need to pull all these other fields together to work. And I use Malta again as an example. It's something we're really, really moving towards. Someone mentioned earlier the issue of climate change. We are working intensely on this because the climate change has severely impacted many of our sites, especially being a small nation island. Any sites along the coast and off the coast have been severely impacted. And so Anton Motivans, who's here with us today, has actually been working on issues of degradation in terms of wrecks in the waters and on artifacts and the biodiversity around those artifacts, how we conserve those artifacts without removing those concretions and actually using that material to obtain data that we can use for other things. So if you're interested in that, certainly speak with us, because he can tell you what he's been working on. Dr. Gambin, which I know many of you know also from the University of Malta and also Heritage Malta, have been working on these kinds of things in terms of looking at pollution that's affecting the waters around Malta and also the underwater cultural heritage. And how those metal wrecks, for instance, that we have around the island are, what's being released from them? How are they affecting biodiversity that actually has developed on these particular artifacts or various underwater cultural heritage that we have? So, having said that, I don't think I need them just yet. Again, thank you to all the presenters in the session that I moderated, along with my colleagues, and to all the other presenters from the other sessions. It was really a pleasure to hear all the work that you have been doing. The whole purpose of BCThubs, of course, is to try and pull all of this together, develop new technology and research and innovative methods, but also to bring forth everything else that's being worked on, because sometimes when we're working in our own areas of the world, you tend to miss certain things that are happening, and I think this is such a great way for us to come together. I wanted to just end the conference with a couple of things. First of all, to thank you for coming out in person, and also to those of you who are online to spend the time with us today, because I recognize how busy everybody is, and just to share all this information in a 3-day period. Clearly, we did not have enough time to include everybody and all the other topics that I think are really crucial to our field, but it's been a pleasure. I think that it's been a successful event, and I'm hoping that it'll give us the impetus to continue with the research and the innovation that has been taking place and that can take place, so that we can continue to preserve underwater cultural heritage. So the plan is to have another conference in 2026. And it'll be the second international conference for BCThubs. We'll have other themes, of course, and a continuation of particular things we've discussed this time around. The videos from this conference will be uploaded to our website. We will have proceedings from this conference provided to you as well in the new year. And keep looking at the BCThubs website, because I think you'll see a lot of great material coming out of this project. The other thing is I thought I'd take a moment to thank the organizing committee and the scientific committee. All of you who are involved in these kinds of projects know how much work it takes to pull everything together. So to Professor George Koutsouplakis for ensuring that all the technical areas worked, and coordination at the hotel, thank you. And to Anastasios for Taki. He's Catholic. As well for taking the lead on having this work. So we are going to meet at 1:45 in the front entrance for those of you who would like to join us for the free tour of the Museum of Archaeology. And we're going to be going for about an hour there if you'd like to join us. And having said that, I wish you a wonderful holiday season. Of course, it's coming up in a couple of weeks. Safe diving, and we look forward to future research that you'll be doing. So thank you.
See you in 2 years from now. We will do our appointment then.
Are you sure?